Developing tonight, fresh bombshells in the IRS targeting scandal. As we learn, former IRS official Lois Lerner was warning her colleagues to be careful about what they said in emails, lest Congress, to which the IRS answers, ever see them. And she may have communicated with them over an instant messaging system that was not routinely archived. Earlier today, upset lawmakers asked the IRS commissioner why they are just hearing about all of this now. Watch.
What I want to know is, why did it take us this long to get these emails? We've been after these for 6 months, and you dump them on us on July 3rd. The FBI has not talked to you about the lost emails of Lois Lerner.
They have not.
Has anyone at the Justice Department talked with you or anyone at the Internal Revenue Service about Lois Lerner's lost emails?
I don't know.
Here's the takeaway. Lois Lerner is trying to cover her tracks. And this guy tells us he hasn't even talked to the FBI. What kind of investigation is going on where the FBI won't even talk to the head of the agency that has this kind of stuff going on with their email exchange and won't talk to the agency that lost key evidence in an investigation that's about people's First Amendment rights being targeted? And we get these flippant answers from the commissioner. That's what just bothers. That's what bothers every single American.
This is not the standard of the subcommittee you and I have set, Mr. Chairman. Abusing and badgering witnesses.
We do want all the members to be respectful of the witnesses.
My only response was to disagree with the characterization that my responses have been flippant.
J. Christian Adams is a former Justice Department attorney and legal editor of PJ Media. Chris, good to see you. And so explain what it is, because what happened here was there was an email from Lois Lerner, April 9th, 2013, to a woman named Maria Hook, who's an IT person at the IRS. And Lois seems very concerned to find out whether the IRS's instant messaging, like the top line sort of communications you can have internally, are discoverable. Explain.
Well, the IRS apparently has this special program that lets officials talk to each other without creating a record. And so Lois Lerner was asking the tech people, will anybody be able to find these messages that I have been sending using this system? And there's an amazing moment, Megan, when the tech person says, no, they're gone forever. And Lois Lerner's one-word answer is perfect. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way to find these records of Lois Lerner talking with other IRS officials on this instant messaging system about how to target Tea Party groups. So the records have just vanished. The hard drives have just vanished. It gets more absurd by the day, this IRS abuse scandal.
This happens at the same time that one of the targeted parties, True the Vote, is demanding that an outside third-party forensic examiner be allowed to take a look at the computers at the IRS and assure the court hearing these lawsuits that what the IRS is representing about nothing being retrievable is true. Now, you would think if the IRS was in a position of actually telling the truth, they would say, bring them in, Judge. Fine. That'll put this to bed once and for all. And instead, Chris, they are objecting, saying, no one gets to come in.
Yeah, no surprise the IRS isn't very forthcoming in court either. Look, Megan, this is the government agency that makes every American keeps her tax returns for 7 years. It's the government agency that makes small business owners keep every doggone receipt they have, or else they're going to be audited and fined and maybe even go to jail. And this is the same government agency that apparently doesn't keep their own records. They don't make Americans comply with their own standards. The IRS just allows their own records to vanish into thin air. They hide from subpoenas. They hide from Congress. There seems to be absolutely no accountability at this agency.
Well, that's the other thing is she's talking about avoiding, she's asking about how Congress sometimes asks for emails, and she concludes, quote, we therefore need to, she says, we need to be cautious about what we say in emails. Now, that might be something that, a lot of people who work at companies are used to hearing, because you never want to say something untoward in an email if it could wind up on the front page of the New York Times. A lot of people have heard that. But the thing is, Lois Lerner works for us, and our representatives work in Congress. So she's basically saying she doesn't want us to see what she's talking about. And guess what, Lois? You don't get to say that because we pay you.
Well, she doesn't want people to know what was on those instant messages for a reason. Most Americans have enough common sense to know what that reason is. This is an agency that was so abusive, it chilled political speech during the 2012 election. It chilled Tea Party groups from fully engaging
but
the issues.
don't worry, because your former boss, Eric Holder, is on top of it. And as
Oh.
you heard in that testimony today, he's so on top of it that he hasn't even bothered through DOJ or FBI to talk to the current tax agency chief, Koskinen.
That might be the most amazing revelation today, that the IRS has not even been contacted by Justice Department investigators about this cover-up, about these emails, about this instant messaging sham going on. That speaks volumes. It tells you that Eric Holder doesn't have any intention of doing anything about this, because this administration hated political speech by right-wing groups, by conservative groups, by Tea Party groups, and they set out to stop it, and they succeeded.
J. Christian Adams, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Megan.